Peace, everybody. It's your boy Killer B, Witchfinder General. You got a witch, I'll burn their asses up. Another cult leader gonna bite the dust. First of all, I'd like to shout out to Sister Cherry. Sister Cherry showed my last video on her channel this morning. So I'd like to give her a shout out and thank you for doing that for me. Sister Cherry has been doing an awesome job exposing the cults and educating people that follow the Bible on the correct, how can I put it? Basically, I'd say it like this. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I've been looking at the screen all day. Sister Cherry has been doing an excellent job exposing the cults through the biblical scriptures and all the foolish claims and stuff these people have been making. She's been doing an excellent job tearing down these false doctrines and tearing down these false claims. So if you guys want to check out Sister Cherry, if you go to my home page on my YouTube channel and you go all the way to the bottom, you'll see a list of all my friends and stuff. So you can find Sister Cherry's link there. And she's been putting some heavy videos out. I've been binge watching her. Like I watch her like every night before I go to bed. And the videos are just like top notch, packed with information. But we're gonna get into some information tonight with old boy Mgijima'S Crowdy. Right? So a lot of you Hebrew Israelites like to claim your faith of the Hebrew Israelite cult, like to contribute to Mgijima'S Crowdy, right? As one of your founding fathers of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, right? So we're gonna get into what happens when you follow Mgijima'S Crowdy. We're gonna talk about a little bit about who Mgijima'S Crowdy was. We're gonna talk about what he did, what people said about him, some facts and stuff, and then we're gonna go across the Atlantic. Yes, we are. We're gonna go across the Atlantic tonight into Africa, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about a man who was influenced by Mgijima'S Crowdy and started his own Hebrew Israelite movement in Africa, and we're gonna see the results of that movement. We're also going to go into some more scholarship on how these so-called Africans are claiming to be Israelites, right? So we're going to get into the truth of where these claims came from, where they originated, and how a lot of them came to be. What up, Myron? What's going on, man? Myron sent me some good information this morning. You guys check out Myron's channel too. Myron, put your link in the chat so people can check out your channel. You have to go there, subscribe to Myron, subscribe to Sister Cherry. Also subscribe to Negi Springfield. Negi Springfield is going to be doing another wave of some research on these cults, these Black Hebrew Israelite cults and stuff out there. So guess we could get into this really quick. I'm not going to play any music tonight. Let's just get right into it. Kind of late. I'm just eating for the first time today. It's crazy. Busy all day. So, Mgijima'S Crowdy, right? I got a ton of information. All right. That's like a start here. Let's get started. Share my screen. Israelite Elect Nazarite Order. What's up, man? Thanks for coming by. Right on, Myron. Mgijima'S. I don't know who Mgijima'S is. Oh, you talking about my the logo? Nah, the that guy name is damn, I forgot his name. Ain't that something? Damn, what's his name? Yeah, the name slips my mind right now. He was a witch finder, I guess you could say. He worked for the government, and he went around finding witches. It's a really interesting story on him. There's actually a movie on him. His name is damn. What's his name, man? Wait, hold on. Damn, his name is right on the tip of my tongue. Let me get it. Damn, his name was right on the tip of my tongue. It was crazy. Hold on one second. Oh, not the band. Well, I got the name from the band actually to keep it 100, and I found about that he was a real person right there. Matthew Hopkins, that's his name. Matthew Hopkins. His name's on the tip of my tongue. Matthew Hopkins. There's a new movie on him. This guy was a funny dude. Like he was about that bread actually. Like, you know what I mean? He was basically, all right, let's give an example of what Matthew Hopkins is doing. Someone is accused of a witch. How he would determine if you're really a witch or not. He had these tests that he would do on you. Some of them were he would prick you with like a hot poker, I believe. And if you would scream out and stuff like that, it would determine certain things. They're quite funny. Not funny for the people that were under the test, but what he would do, say, for example, if someone is accused of a witch, he'll bring them to a bridge, right, over like a stream or a river, and he would tie the person up and throw them in the water. If they floated, no, if they sunk and drowned, they wasn't a witch. But if they float to the top, they was a witch. Just think about that. Just like think for a moment about that. But it's kind of messed up. Like if you go to the bottom and drown, you wasn't a witch, but you already dead. If you float to the top, you a witch, and they're gonna kill you anyway. So like, yeah, it was crazy. I don't know. But let's get right into this thing here. Once again, I am the witch finder general, Killer B. I did a video on King James, and actually, did I do that one on the demonology? Yeah, he wrote a book on demonology. I don't know if I did a video on that or not. I know I had plans to, or I mentioned it within like a video or something. But I got a few videos on King James on my channel. You should check them out. You can just search for him like within my home channel. Yeah, he wasn't black at all. I did a video on that showing how he wasn't black. I showed like actual paintings. And I showed the picture that the Hebrew Israelites used to say that he's black, and showed that it was just a pixelated version of the photo. It was what it was called, like not a lithograph. I forgot what it's called. It's etched. It's an etching of it, and I showed how like we got dot gain and how you reproduce photos and stuff. So that I can take a photo and put on a photocopier. You're gonna keep losing definition. So this video, that image of King James, when they try to say he was black, it was just like a reproduced copy of a copy of a copy that was really grainy, and it gave the appearance of him being black or mulatto looking. When you see the original, it's totally different. Totally different when you see the original image. Once again, I have that video on my channel. You can check it out. The Ethiopian Enoch is the only way to go for. I'm going to get on that tonight. You're going to have to stick around. Later on, I'm definitely going to go into that. Like I said, we're going to go to Africa. We're going to go to Africa tonight. We go to the dark continent. So I'm going to put the link up in here for anybody I want to hop on with me and talk about this. Hopefully maybe Stringfield stop by. Send him a message. Okay, there's a link. Anybody want to come through? All right. Okay. All right. Let's read about Crowdy. St. Mary's County, Maryland. William Saunders Crowdy was born August 11th, 1847. He was born a slave. His father, Basil Crowdy, was a deeply religious Christian who oversaw the drying of clay on the plantation. Crowdy was raised with the family knowledge that he was descended from the ancient kings of the Ndongo Empire. His ancestors were captured by the Portuguese slavers. Crowdy was unusual. It was illegal for slaves to read, but he learned to read the Bible. He was particularly engaged by the Hebrew prophets in the role of Elijah. When he was severely abused by an overseer, Crowdy prayed to Moses to deliver him. Crowdy was delivered from the abusive slave master. 10 years after his miraculous delivery from the overseer, the Civil War was a reality. At Crowdy's first opportunity, he ran away from the plantation and joined the Union Army to fight for his and the freedom of all slaves. Crowdy was 16. He enlisted in the 19th Maryland Colored Troops and saw action in the Battle of the Wilderness and outside of Petersburg. Crowdy remained in the Army, became a Buffalo Soldier with the 5th Cavalry. He rose to the rank. I got to do a video on the Buffalo Soldier. He rose to the rank of Quartermaster Sergeant and was honorably discharged in 1872. Crowdy eventually settled down in Guthrie, Oklahoma, followed a career as a cook in Santa Fe on the Santa Fe Railroad. He married and raised a family. In Guthrie, Crowdy was very successful. He was one of the largest black farmers in the area with nearly 100 acres of land. He was a pillar of his community and a member of the Baptist Church. September 13th, 1892 was the date of the first vision that Crowdy spoke of. Boy, here we go. God had come to him in a field and told him to lead his people, the black people, to the true religion. He was to redeem Israel out of spiritual and mental bondage. The vision confused him. He asked God for more time, resisting the vision. The Civil War is very fresh in former slave minds. The biblical imagery of the children of Israel being liberated by God with a strong hand from bondage, and Moses as their leader, as well known and often repeated. The slave world had ended, but the world of black enslavement under prejudice, bigotry, and hatred was never far from the American black experience. 3 years later, in 1895, Crowdy was chopping wood and again had a vision. He said in the vision, it was like the sound of rushing birds. The second vision terrified him. The vision told him, run for your life. He ran to the woods. It was deep in the woods that God revealed the vision of what he must do. It was in the woods that William Crowdy became the prophet, a title and designation that he was known by until he died. God showed the prophet a little book and instructed him to eat it up. Crowdy said, in my mouth, it was as sweet as honey, but in my belly, it was bitter as gall. It was a reference from Ezekiel 3:1. Son of man, eat what is before you, eat the scroll, then go and speak to the house of Israel. God promised Crowdy to make his forehead strong against their forehead. Again, it was wrestled from Ezekiel 3:9. I will make your forehead like the hardest stone, harder than flint. Do not be afraid of them or terrified by them, though they are a rebellious house. right? God, according to Crowdy, proceeded to reveal his ancient plan of salvation. Fresh vision. Crowdy was seated alone in a room. Tables descended before him. Each table was inscribed with the name of a religious denomination. Each table was filthy as if covered with vomit. Finally, a small table came down. The table was clean and white. On the table was inscribed a name, the Church of God and Saints of Christ. When the table touched the ground in front of him, he could see it was richly laden with wonderful things. The table expanded in size until it crowded out of the room all the other 50 tables. Crowdy understood and accepted his mission. He understood what he must do. He was to establish the Church of God and Saints of Christ. His mission was to spread the word of salvation. Crowdy was to gather the lost 10 tribes of Israel. He was to show them, to teach them, to guide and lead them back to biblical prophetic truths of Sabbath observance and Passover, the Hebrew calendar, the Day of Atonement, and most importantly, the revelation from Sinai, the 10 Commandments. He was tasked, as he said, I teach my people to love one another, keep the 10 Commandments, pay their honest debts, and abstain from alcohol and tobacco. Who were the lost tribes? Where were they? What happened to them since the Assyrian exile more than 2,000 years earlier? The search for the lost 10 tribes of Israel has consumed many men and lives over the millennium. Columbus on his early voyages, listen now, Columbus on his early voyages brought along Jews who had been forcibly baptized to act as interpreters to the natives in the New World, whom he thought might be the 10 lost tribes. See, Christopher Columbus wanted to go because he wanted to look for the lost 12 tribes of Israel. That was his little mission. At that time, people was reading the Bible. Finally, it was like starting to read the Bible, and people was like overzealous about them, and they wanted to find out all they can about this. Like, know what I mean? It's like a bestseller book, and like the only book. Like, know what I mean? So he like, shoot, I ain't gonna get caught lacking. I'm gonna bring some Jews with me, and of course they were white. They wasn't black, right? To the Americas to be as an interpreter, right? Not saying that they were there. They didn't know where the hell what was going on, right? Not to say that he knew they was there, or that the Jewish interpreters actually interpreted. You know what I'm saying? But it says that he brought them. A lot of Hebrew Israelites to take that and run with it. See, whom we thought might be the 10 lost tribes. American popular culture through the mid-19th century seriously considered the American Indian as being members of the 10 lost tribes. In Crowdy's vision, the 10 lost tribes were black men of Africa, especially the former slaves of the United States. The black former slave was the true inheritor of Israel and the promised land, not the modern Jews, right? Jesus was a prophet, but not a God. So they didn't believe Christ to be Son of God. Crowdy's mission was as a rabbi. A rabbi is a teacher. Crowdy was to teach. Hey, what's up, Mary Bennett? FTW, what's up, man? Cherry Love, hey, Cherry. Yep. So check this out. Watch. Get them. You're gonna get them tonight, Cherry. You're gonna get them behind us tonight. Crowdy was to teach the American black man to keep the 10 Commandments, to love one another, to pay their honest debts, and abstain from alcohol and tobacco. That's not a bad thing. I'm saying that's a bad thing. They were to be self-reliant, stand on their own feet economically, and work to improve themselves. They were to eat the best, wear the best, and be the best. It was a vision very similar to the guidance of one of the dominant black leaders of America at that time, Booker T. Washington, the father of the famed Tuskegee Institute. As we see here too, like he said for black people to strive to be the best, right? And as you can see, my man had over 100 acres of land. My man, he's a successful person. So before all these Negroes start hooping and hollering about the white man this, the white man that, and we the kings and we the rulers of the universe and all this stuff, we was doing a lot better before the lies came out with Afrocentrism, right? When the Afrocentrics came out, black people went downhill. It went downhill. Y'all just look at the timeline yourself. Before then, black people had things, right? And a fundamental difference for Crowdy was his message of black nationalism, black affirmation, and positive identity dependent of the white man's world. The black people were the chosen people. They had been oppressed, suppressed, and enslaved by the white man. The black people were the true nation of Israel and the inheritors of God's blessing. Crowdy's message was no longer dependent upon the white man's God or identity of self-legitimization. The black man had a history as dignified and respected as anyone, perhaps even more so in their eyes. Pieces black, original people were black. Crowdy defined a concept that was later co-opted by other blacks many years later. Black is beautiful. Crowdy moved his family from Guthrie to Lawrence, Kansas in 1896. He incorporated his first church in Lawrence. The Lawrence church brought in many receptive converts to Crowdy's message. He expanded, soon opening new churches in Topeka and Emporia. Like a street missionary, he spread the word. He was arrested 22 times by an annoyed and incredulous constabulary, whatever that means. But his word continued to spread. Within 3 years of his arrival in Kansas, Crowdy's Church of God and Saints of Christ had been organized in 29 different Kansas towns. Sounds like IUIC. The prophet's message spread to Sedalia, Missouri, Chicago, Illinois, and various cities in New York. Crowdy moved to Philadelphia in 1899. His congregation in Philadelphia numbered about 1,300. His message and his centralized control over the congregants quickly became controversial. His message and his centralized control over his congregants quickly became controversial as he became better known. He was accused by a growing chorus of detractors as spreading false doctrines and anarchy. Heard that? Spreading false doctrines and anarchy. Crowdy said they were jealous of his success and noted that the white mayor of Philadelphia, Mayor Ashridge, has seen my work and he finds no offense in me. As long as black affairs did not spill over and involve the white power structure or society, black life was left to itself. In 1903, Crowdy purchased 40 acres in Suffolk, Virginia. He called it Canaan land. Today, the land is the site of the international headquarters of the Church of God and the Disciples of Christ. Crowdy sent missionaries to South Africa in 1905. This is what we're going to get into tonight. The church began to fragment with internal dissensions over control. It continued to grow. In the 1930s, the church had over 37,000 members, 200 tabernacles, and presence in Jamaica and dozens more in Africa. The church has significantly declined today. Crowdy died August 4th, 1908. He is buried in the sepulchre of the church in Belleville, Virginia. Damn, they're the man of the church. The temple of the gospel of the kingdom. Well, okay, let me stop. That's a good topic. Y'all look up that Warren Robertson. Check that out too. So let me get into this next Here's some accomplishments. That says by William Crowdy. I want y'all to pay close attention. All you Hebrew Israelites like out here. Oh, Cherry Love up in here. My bad. I didn't hear you come in, Cherry. Hey, Cherry, what's happening?
Hey, bro, how are you? God bless you. Thank you for letting me up on your panel, bro. Um, I your hangout yesterday has affected me in so many ways. I did not know all of that. Um, I I'm still lost for words. They a bunch of witches. Yeah.
About that money, Cherry. It's about that money.
Mm, 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 mm. You know what? I
Notice with those incantations or those sigils he was drawing, that's for power. So he could have God in his body. So he could be like God and control the people. And like I said, when I left the next day, when I said, yo, this is it. I ain't doing this no more. No more.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, the next day felt like something was lifted off of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I woke up from something.
Mm-hmm.
And other members said the same thing. They said the same thing. Like, yo, you know what? You're right. I said, I felt that too. Yeah, it was like you under a spell. And these people have been working this stuff on these people all this time. And they still doing it. And you wonder how crazy these people is that they believe in the foolish stuff that they believe.
Right. Makes a whole lot of sense. A whole lot of sense. And when I recapped it this morning, and I received a bunch of emails too. I didn't go through them all. I just went through like maybe 3 of them while I was at work because I was so busy today. Hebrew Israelites talking about, Cherry, you got the wrong idea. Y'all, you taking it out of proportion. We can, let's have a dialogue. I don't want dialogue. I don't want dialogue. No, ain't nothing they can say to me at this point.
I hear you, Cherry. They ain't nothing to talk about. There was some lady trying to tell me I need to get in the ring and debate. I'm like, I ain't debating a bunch of dummies. How you supposed to debate Hebrew Israelites? It's fake. That's like debating somebody whether Paul Bunyan or Jack from Jack and the Beanstalks was a real person.
Exactly.
That's how stupid.
Messing around with witch incantations. I looked into a little bit of that 6 and 7 book of Moses. Straight paganism, straight up paganism, bro. I said, what the hell is this? Huh?
Name Moses. Like they call it the 6th to 7th book of Moses. But the person that wrote it supposedly name was Moses, but he was from like around like the medieval times, like in Europe. And he made that. He compiled that book.
But it's wicked. It's wicked.
Yeah.
It's wicked. I said when I looked at I was because I went up on YouTube to see if I can find something on it. I found long and behold, I found a whole lot of Hebrew Israelites dabbling into it, right? So obviously they already knew about this. Or, a remnant of them. And it's spells for protection, spells for this, spells for that. I said, what the hell is this? I said, what is this? And then what caught me, I got caught off guard by your hangout and the article itself that you sent me. And I got to a certain part. I said, what? You'll see me. I'm going off. And I said, what is this? What is these diagrams? What it
Well, basically it's like a symbol. Like a basic way, like someone could make a sigil. It said like I like to say you want to get a better job or something. and you write, I need a new job. And now you would write, I need a new job in a way that, like, you would spell it, but you would spell it abstract. Say you would spell like the letters, so it wouldn't look like words. You would take those words and turn it into a design. You know, you ever seen something like that's spells something, but the way it looks like a picture? It's like the thing that is basically like the same. You could use that, for example. And it's something that you meditate on. Say, like, you would have people in your wallet. Say you would have it on your wall or on your desk, and there's different techniques. Like, you can look at it and just your vision, like you're taking that thing that what you want to happen. You're visibly taking it in, but it's subliminal. You know what I mean? Like they said, I found out this wasn't true, that they used to in movie theaters, like when you're watching the movie, they would have one slide in the film that says buy Coke, buy popcorn. It would be on one slide. So like when you're watching it, that slide goes by, your eyes, like you don't physically see it, you don't register it, but your mind registers it. So it's almost like the same thing as that. So it is like you're flashing this image or this idea, this sentence, and it's subconsciously going into your mind without you really. And they use that for advertisements, or say like, I don't know, all kind of logos could be considered sigils. Like this about any kind of logo.
So sending a subliminal message that the mind will pick up, basically to program you.
Yeah. So it's like you're programming yourself. But these other sigils or these things could be to conjure demons or conjure certain spirits or archangels or something like that. It could be used for that also. So like you write in the diagram or something, then you have like this angel that you want to contact, and that angel might be known for a certain quality. He's good for money or good for negotiations and stuff, and they would make sigils and stuff for all type of stuff. So like, it's used a lot. Like it's used a lot.
That's sick.
Sometimes it could be like those things could be written like instructions for rituals and stuff. Maybe Springfield could tell you a lot more about that.
I can't. I can't. This is, you know what? Every time you look around, they always in something. Hebrew Israelites need to go somewhere and sit down and shut up, and you involve your group, your movement is founded off of this garbage, and then you got the nerve to try to intertwine the word of God into this foolishness. You know, I was so ticked off today. Listen, they need to cut their tongue right out of their jaws. This don't make no sense. Why would you? Oh God, Killer B, you gonna have to take the lead on this one, cause this right here I can't do. This is terrible. Who does that? Who does that? Why would you be involved in some foolishness like this? What is wrong with y'all? You sick. And guess what? And I dare any Hebrew Israelites get up here and try. I want you to try to justify that foolishness. I'm going to tear you apart where you stand.
I hear you, Terry.
You're sick. You spiritual bastards. You're sick.
Yeah. And you got to look at the time period, too. That time period, black people was getting money. Like, the industrial era and all that stuff, and there was a lot of society and fraternities and stuff that were started. So like you had Freemasonry and stuff, right? And then you got all these other clubs. They'd be like clubs or fraternity or lodges, just like you had the Ethiopian lodge, like Rabbi Matthews had. Like, so those things were used sometimes to get the people's money, because people had money. So now you work all day, you got this club, just like the Masons and stuff today. Like they do their thing a couple times a month or whatever, and they be chilling. A lot of them got their own little bar, a little hall or something. They got a bar and they sit there. It's like a social club, basically, like a social club. And you pay your dues every month.
But
so
but listen to what I'm saying, Killer B. Here's the thing: for these people to claim that they the people of the book, right? Number one. Number two, for them to claim that they follow God, which should be number one, that they claim that they follow God, and some of them Messianic claim to follow after Jesus, aka Yahweh Wishy, whatever you want to call it. Jesus, first of all, the real Jesus of the Bible that we all have read about, never taught that foolishness that I recapped today and what you gave a class on yesterday night. Jesus didn't teach that. So what the hell are they following? That is not of Christ. That is not of Yahweh. That is not of the Holy Spirit. The Bible does not co-sign that. Listen, the Torah ain't even co-signing that. That foolishness. They're a bunch of sick. You're sick. You sick. Y'all are sick. And then you want to use the Bible and then I found when I was looking up the so-called 6th and 7th book of Moses, right? Then it was said that they was using the book of Psalms as the spell book. I wish you would try to come up here and justify. I want a Hebrew Israelite to come up here and try to justify it so I can beat the hell out you. Because you know what? You sick. You sick and you're a witch. And the Bible says in Exodus 22, verse 18, I suffer not a witch to live. You're going to lose tonight.
You're sick. Yeah, this is wild. Like I was saying, too, like the slaves, a lot of the slaves, like in the South, or just descendants of slaves in the South, you have the religion hoodoo, which is really like hidden. Like I had family and stuff. Like I found out that I had an uncle and stuff that used to deal with that. Like I used to go in his room and do whatever. Like, but it came from slaves. Having the only religion they had was Christianity, but they also had things that were, I guess, inherited from their migration here from Africa. Some like maybe superstition, or like you see that in that what was that last slave movie? Was that Harriet Tubman? Or I think it was Harriet Tubman.
I think it was
at the tree. She would run over to the tree, and she would be praying to the tree.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's a form of hoodoo. Like the trees, the Seba tree or something is like a certain tree that's supposed to I forgot the term and stuff to use for it. But
but see that it's a different. But in the article, this Rabbi Matthew was using Kabbalism. That is a forbidden teaching.
They picked that up from the white Jews that they were dealing with. I bet, and I learned it too. I don't have the note. I got it somewhere in one of my things and stuff. It's gonna be a minute before I can pull it out. But it was saying that the Jews that was chilling with them. Wait, where I was going, I've kind of lost my thought. The Jews were had something to do with them with the Kabbalah and stuff. It was. Go ahead, Sister Cherry. I forgot what I was going to say.
So in the early AD, we know that and even back to the late, I want to say either the early AD century or the late BC century. We know that when they came out of Babylon, they were already working on or if most likely finished the Babylonian Talmud, which is already heretical and it's bad. And then this Kabbalism that came along later on. So we're talking about probably I want to estimate. This is just an estimate. Probably fifth A 5 AD. No, 5th century. Right, yeah, 5th century to probably late ninth or 10th century, that they created that foolishness. And then when you look at it, it's like almost like trying to control Yahweh or know the mind of Yahweh or even actually be Yahweh God. It's a heretical teaching, which was forbidden. God never ever sanctioned that. So, for them, and when I find really hypocritical, what you brought out last night, the fact that y'all were funded by the Jews that you claim ain't Jews, the fact that you using their stuff, their information, because that's where it comes from, just like you said, Killer B, it comes from them, the rabbinic writings, Talmud, Kabbalism, and all of that other Jewish fables, that stuff comes from them. So wait a minute. Why are you using their stuff if you're supposed to be the real Jews? Where's your own stuff? Number one. That I find that quite odd that you're doing that. And then since you're gonna use their stuff, you're gonna use the worst part of the whole situation. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, you identify as a Hebrew Israelite, you come up here, you gonna catch it tonight. I got it in for you. I got it in for you. Huh?
Yep.
You're going to see me let loose on this platform, Killer B, in a minute. And one of you come up here with that foolishness trying to justify that mess that we seen today. And I don't care if that was done back with Rabbi Matthew, Ford, Cherry, and all them. The fact of it is, they're your founding fathers of this movement. So guess what? Your movement is based off on that. I don't want to hear your excuses. I want answers. I want answers. Why are you a part of a movement that's based off on witchcraft? You witch.
But they speak against it all day long, and they found basis in it. But that what a lot of people do. They will learn these things and keep it to themselves. I mean, they'll spoon feed you. That's like what Judah Nazareth was doing. Judah Nazareth was trying to teach Kabbalah, but it's
and got taught.
But talking against Kabbalah at the same time, so it makes the member not want to not be interested in Kabbalah because that's not the truth. But Judah Nazareth is teaching it, but repackaged it, and he just repackaged it and called it his own thing, and that's the dangerous part. These people like me, I was trying to figure out what he was teaching. Then it all kept bringing me to Kabbalah on my research. Because I'm not just going to sit here and wait for you to spoon feed me some stuff. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep studying it up. And it all kept coming back to Kabbalah.
And this person saying they are not the founders. Yes, they are your founders. Mr. Israelite elect Naz, whatever you want to call yourself, they are your founders because guess what? Y'all movement don't go back to the Bible at all. Now, maybe your funky behavior when the ancient Israelites were acting a fool and doing idol worship, yeah, I can see the similarity there. But other than that, guess what? No, you don't go back to the Bible. No, you don't. No, don't tell that lie. You're all the way up there in the 1800s. That's where you started at. You witch.
Whoa. You said Judah Nazareth is asking for tithe money?
Who?
Whoa. Straight Zen. Tell me Judah Nazareth is asking people for tithe money.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
I knew it.
Mm.
I knew it. I knew it.
Mm.
I knew it. Please tell me that's not true.
Mm.
Please tell me that's not. But
Mm.
Israelite elect, he says that the he's talking about the Ethiopia. He mentioned it earlier in the stream about the Ethiopians, right? But I told him like we're gonna get Ethiopia in the genealogy. Yeah, we're gonna get into that tonight. We're gonna get into that tonight. I wanted to let me share my real quick. Share something. I got some stuff tonight. And I tell you what this Crowdy dude did. Put it like that, right?
It just gets worse. It just gets worse.
Oh.
It don't get no better. It just gets worse with them. And then I had a few Hebrew Israelites in my chat sitting up here trying to, oh, Cherry, you going off in the article. You just believing in lies. Where's the primary sources? And I'm reading the primary sources. I'm playing your video while you're reading off the primary sources. And these idiots want to act like they ain't heard nothing. Come on up here with your foolishness if you want to, and I'm going to get you. I got an in for you tonight. Call me biased. Call me what you want. I'm going to bust your head tonight.
Yeah, sure. They get mad at you for what you did.
I don't care about their feelings. I don't care. Listen, I care about their soul, but I don't care about their feelings at all. You can ask Mama Mary, you can ask BK, you can ask Brother Myron. I will cut your feelings up so doggone quick. You come up here with that foolishness if you want to. I'm going to cut you up. I'm not playing.
Mr. Cherry got the belt tonight, y'all. She got the belt out. So y'all.
I got a stanchion cord and a spiritual baseball bat, and I'm going to bust your head with it. So come on up here if you want to. You're going to catch hell tonight. Come on up here.
For all the Hebrew Israelites and stuff, says accomplishments made by this one man in just 12 short years is incredible. Although still within the shadow of signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, this unsung hero of faith, prophet William S. Crowdy, excelled not only in the field of religion, but also as a businessman, an industrialist, a musician, a Grand Master Mason.
So this going back to Freemasonry.
Yeah, but now he was in the military. So a lot of black slaves got into masonry through the military. Right? Like Freemasonry was like big when white and black and stuff, especially like in the South, like post Civil War, post World War I, and stuff like that. That would help a lot of black people come up north, believe it or not. A lot of those like got up north through that society, that fraternity. All right, and get the next slide now. We can get them. One here.
This is terrible.
Yeah, you're gonna get worse.
This is terrible.
Oh, we got somebody up in here. Got Ethiopia heads up here. What up, Ethiopia? What up? What's happening?
What's going on? I'm from the Israelite elect Nazarite order.
Oh, all right. Right on.
All right. So, yeah, I totally agree with you on a lot of your points. Actually, all of your points that you've been presenting about the origins of the Hebrew Israelite movement in America. I completely agree with you. They were come from Freemasons, which were into phallus worship. They're you know what I mean? They weren't following the Torah. I mean, these dudes were back then, they were eating pork chops and stuff. They weren't doing none of the stuff they were talking about. So,
all right, now, were you a member of Freemasonry?
No.
Okay. A lot of things when people talk about Freemasons, like I don't really have anything against Freemasonry because I don't know what they do because I'm not in it.
Phallus worship.
What they do because we're not in it. But the cult, the reason I bring it up in such a way when talking about the cult is because they speak so much against it, and it comes out that their founders and stuff were like, you know what I mean, rooted in that. All of them, not some of them, all of them. All of these American founders of Black Hebrewism or whatever, every single one of them was. From Ford, to Cherry, to Crowdy, to Wentworth, all of them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yep. And like I said, I'm gonna get into the flashes and stuff like that. So what's your thing on, you said like that the Black Hebrew Israelites is not rooted in that stuff, but within Ethiopia. So like tell us a little bit about
this is my issue. This is my issue, and I think you'll find it completely logical whether you agree with Hebrew Israelites or not. Would you say that the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade in the Caribbean are also Negroes?
Yes.
Okay, so we identify with the Ethiopian Royal Amharic speaking people, the Afro-Asiatic language speaking people. We identify with them. At some point, and it's great that you let me on at this point, because the commandment keepers, the commandment keepers.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. I want to say something real quick. The Black people, I would say, that were brought from Africa in the transatlantic slave trade were African. They were sub-Saharan Africans. I would say the majority of them were sub-Saharan African from the Congo. The first ones was brought, I know, definitely from the Congo. And those people don't look nothing like the people that's in Ethiopia. I wouldn't say the slaves that were brought here were of Afro-Asiatic stock. I wouldn't say that. But go on what you were saying now. I just wanted to say that.
In the origins of the American Hebrew Israelites, the commandment keepers, they used the lineage of Emperor Haile Selassie and all that stuff. They even used him rewriting the Constitution as reestablishing the kingdom. And then, you got the other Israelite schools that broke off of that, like ISUPK, and they started teaching that Ethiopians are just Cushites and have nothing to do with any of this stuff.
Absolutely. They actually taught me, which was a lie, that the word Falasha actually meant fake, which wasn't true. That was one of the things and stuff.
No, they're fake. They're fake Rastas. Listen, they go kosher and they don't even know what to eat because they don't deal with the Caribbean foods.
Okay.
They literally go kosher and have nothing to eat. They're not living bro, and this is the thing. They're fake Rastas, and every single Rasta is a Nazarite. They take the Nazarite vow of purity for life.
Which is literally impossible. Impossible. Especially in America.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I'm going to be putting on my channel is living here and trying to live that lifestyle. But the Jews here, they're completely disrespectful, bro. And this is another point I would like to make. All of the Ethiopian Jews have moved to Israel. They have all moved to Israel, and Israel accepts them. There's obviously racism and stuff like that, but most of the Israelis are atheists, so they're just straight up racist. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They also believe that being a Jew is a race. Even the Jews that are atheists and that are Israelis, you know what I'm saying? Even the ones that are atheists, they still think they're Jews. So that's the only the racism that they're facing over there. But the religious Jew-ish people, they accept the Ethiopians as Jews and they hail Christ. The Ethiopian Jews deal with Christ.
True. Yep. Well, the Flashers don't, but the other Ethiopian, those would be considered what, like the Coptics that would believe in Christ.
No. All the Ethiopian Jews deal with Christ.
You sure about that?
Yeah, for sure.
So Beta Israel, they deal with Christ? I never heard that before.
Yeah, they deal with Christ, bro. They don't use the Torah. They don't use the Torah or none of that. They use the Garima Gospels.
That's true. Like I said, I got some information. We can get into that tonight. So let me work through some of this stuff when we can get down to it. This is another clip that I wanted to show. I don't know if you guys can see that clear enough, but it says, though he rests upon his record and need not arise to defend his church at this hour. Though arrested, this is talking about Crowdy. Though arrested 22 times, 6 times for insanity. So the Bishop Crowdy is a type of a crazy leader who has much to teach the established churches, right? We need more crazy leaders, particularly of the type of Jesus and Paul. I believe this was J.A. Rogers that wrote this. No, I don't think it is. There was one I had that was J.A. Rogers speaking on it. I don't think that's it. No, this isn't it. That one. All right. This is, let me see.
So this is an article saying that he was insane?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't find the one, but it said he was actually put in an insane asylum or whatever.
Because I did a little research on the commandment keepers, and it was, it was very little.
Yeah.
Up there. And you can tell some things were just like, kept back or wiped out. I won't lie. When I did my research, I, just thought they were Black people just practicing just Judaism.
Well, when they legalized themselves with the government, they used Haile Selassie to justify being Jews.
Yes, I read that today. You absolutely.
That's a fact.
They did use it because through Wentworth Matthews saying that he was from Nigeria, he was a Falasha. That he was a Falasha. His father was a Falasha and his mother was West Indian. But there's no evidence of Matthews being from Africa at all. They actually got his actual government records, and the man was from the West Indies, which was a lot of founders of this quote.
And that's what I do. I mean, I'm from the West Indies, and I claim that I'm Ethiopian all the time, and it's easy when you learn the languages. So I have no doubt that that's what he was doing.
Does it say what part of the West Indies he's from?
And they fell for it. See, this is the thing. In the West Indies, right? There were Indian slaves in 1930 after the African slaves were already free for some time. Those guys came over with all the teachings of gurus and believed that living men were God. So the white man had a God, the Indian man had a God. Where is the black God? That's where this Haile Selassie thing comes from. And these dudes got this from Leonard Howe.
So, did they take this teaching and I'm trying to figure out how.
Well, this is how they got it. They got it from Leonard Howe. And he met Marcus Garvey, and when they both ended up in New York, in Harlem. So, the Sinetter and all these dudes and ISUPK in Harlem now, Marcus Garvey and Leonard Howe, the first Rastafarian, was in Harlem, New York, when the commandment keepers and all these guys were there. But Marcus Garvey was a Freemason. So that's how they got it from him.
Oh,
Because
dear.
even the
Now-
Rastas see Marcus Garvey as a prophet, saying Haile Selassie would be crowned.
Now,
So they
didn't
got it.
Leonard
They
Hall-
got it from the Mason. They got it from the Mason lodges dealing with Marcus Garvey when he was in Harlem.
Now, I said in another stream before that Haile Selassie helped fund the Ethiopian order, the Masonic Ethiopian order, or whatever it was called before it became the Commandment Keeper.
Well,
I had a source.
I believe that he might have. I believe that he might have because he helped start one of the oldest Rastafari mansions as well.
Huh.
And those guys, the Bobo Shanti, believe that a man named King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is Christ.
The Messiah, right? Christ, right?
And Selassie funded that as well and gave them land and all that. Shashamani in Ethiopia.
Now, was Howell the one that wrote the Holy Pibli?
No, the Pibbi was written by someone else. The Ethiopians deal with the Tahado. It's pronounced Tahado, Ethiopic Bible.
There was one of them. It was either Howell or the guy that wrote the Pibbi said that on his deathbed. Said it was all bullshit. Oh, excuse my language here. That it was all fake. Like he made it up. I read that.
I think that was a story about Leonard Howe.
Okay, all right. I knew it was one of them. I read that in a book called Rastafarianism, or it might have been the Bob Marley book, Catch a Fire. One of the two. I read it.
Bob Marley also said that he did that. They said he did that as well.
Oh, that's deep. All right, so let me get to this. Check this out, y'all. This one of the kind of the meat of the video here. We're gonna get into. There was a guy from Africa.
But yeah, the Ethiopian Jews, they believe in Christ. The holy text that they have has Old and New Testament. You know what I'm saying? Even the manuscript.
That would be the Coptics, right?
Right.
The Garima Gospel, and they use it to write the Tahado. They're the Ethiopian Orthodox.
It's like 80 books or something. It's Old
88.
Testament, 88. I knew it was somewhere
with the
around
five books after Revelation.
Yeah, all that it has everything. They hold to everything, and it's said to be one of the oldest. That they have one of the oldest Bibles around. It's
Well,
pretty
it is the first. It is the first Bible ever.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how did they go from that to this, or how did these people go from?
It's King James. That's why.
Well, King James only recorded 66 books.
Yeah, exactly.
From the Masoretic text.
Exactly. And he said that there was a Masoretic text. This is the thing. They didn't understand our culture as where we needed a manuscript to write anything. Because even the fake Jews memorized the Torah. Even the fake rabbis memorized the Torah. So we never needed a manuscript for anything. All that other crap is made up.
What other stuff is made up?
All the Codex Sinaiticus, Latin Vulgate, that's all BS, man. Those people were worshiping Zeus, Thor, Odin, Hera. The Most High didn't deal with those people.
But in the Codex Sinaiticus and the Codex Adriaticus, and I've looked at those, they're pretty much saying the same thing as the Old and New Testament is saying.
Well, yeah, but the only reason they came in, the only reason they came into existence is to say it was older than the Garima Gospels.
Well, we know that it's not older than that. That's fine, but
this is why. Hold on. This is why they never claimed. Okay, because the Garima Gospels, what sets it apart is that it has the Old and the New Testament, right? Apocrypha, all that in there. These other manuscripts don't have all that. But the thing is that it's in an ancient language called Ge'ez, right? So they couldn't read it to figure out what exactly it had in it. So that's why, you know what I'm saying?
Are you basing this off of transliteration and translation?
Well, I'm basing this off of there's nobody that speaks the ancient language Ge'ez besides
No,
Ethiopic Jews.
okay. When what I'm looking at, of course, yes, in the 66 books, they didn't hold to, or if we looking at church history, they didn't canonize the Apocrypha because they found some things problematic with it.
Well, yeah,
But it
Enoch.
doesn't. Well, yeah, that too. But I'm just saying it. I mean, it doesn't exile what is already written down.
But
From
the
what
thing
I'm
is that
saying,
they couldn't read the Ethiopian Bible because the Ethiopian has never been translated to English yet.
and that's fine. But the fact of it is, we can literally see. I mean, we're talking about Old Testament, New Testament. I mean, I don't see what information is different there. I mean,
Well,
it
nobody has read these transcripts, is what I'm saying. Nobody has read these manuscripts because the language has never been translated.
talking about from the Ethiopian Bible.
Right. It's in an ancient language called Ge'ez, which is also
Yeah,
the Afro-Asiatic language family group of Aramaic, Amharic. The British didn't know how to read that. They
well,
still
that's
don't.
mighty fine.
They don't have not one scholar in England right now that could read that.
Well,
But
I
all
mean,
that stuff, Greek, right?
What was that?
All that stuff derived from Greek.
No.
Like,
It derived from no. There was a man that was in Rome, and actually take note of this. The man that wrote the Garima Gospels, his name was Abba, which means father, right? Kind of like Abba Bivens, right? And they can't tell whether it's Bibbins with BB or Bivens with VV, right? The man that brought the Garima Gospel to Ethiopia, he was in Rome trying to give it to them. And then they came up with their own. So he brought the word to the Ethiopians, and then not too far after that, man, after, you know what I'm saying? After the rest of the world started getting on that train of trying to be the Israelites.
well, I'm gonna say this. I'm not knocking anything within the manuscripts. That's not even so much the problem. What I'm knocking is, or what I'm trying to figure out is, how did it go from that to what I seen this morning and what I seen yesterday on Killer Bee's platform regarding this mysticism? Because the Bible doesn't push that. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I mean, even when you deal with like Enoch, there was a certain amount of synonyms to mysticism were there. You know, his oath, all these things that were going on in there. A lot of people had their own different agendas in that book, but even like Moses, like there, you know, just for the Egyptians to take him seriously with the stuff he was talking about, like, you know. But that's the thing, is that it depends on how you look at these stories. Like, do you guys see the stories in the Bible as like literal or what?
Yeah. Did God create the heavens and the earth? Yeah. Did God split the Red Sea? Yeah. Did Jesus raise from the dead? Yeah, literal. I believe everything that's from the Bible, literal.
All right. So the geographical location, because we all know that Israel is not the real Israel. So the real Israel is described.
Hold on. Now, what do you mean the Israel now is not the real Israel?
It's only just like their manuscripts. It's only partial. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying this? Like, I believe that you're referring to that guy that said that the Jerusalem that they have now isn't the real Jerusalem. That the real Jerusalem is like another spot, and he found it. You know what I'm talking about?
No. I'm saying it's a bigger landmass than just that piece of Palestine.
I don't know, but I want to get back on
this location is.
It's defined in the text by certain rivers, including the Gihon River, that encompasses the whole region of Northeast Africa or the land of Cush. And then there's also another verse that says when they were building the gate of Zion, you know what I'm saying? It was in that area as well. It's a bigger landmass. I believe that the promised land is Northeast Africa and the Arabian Peninsula.
Oh God. Okay. Go ahead, Kilby. I'm gonna leave that alone because it's late. But okay.
I'm getting back on track here. I'm gonna get the hell? What's going on? Let's have my spot.
But yeah, even Mighty Hebrew was teaching that on Sotnetter, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. But I know that he believes Israel is the same location. It's a bigger landmass than what they're saying it is.
All right, I don't know about all that stuff, but I'm gonna get into this right here. Enoch Mgijima. I guess that's how you pronounce his name.
Hold on.
Enoch. Let me see if this thing can actually read it. Hold on, because I know I can't see it. Is they gonna talk?
Well, this is the thing I believe that they were doing back then. Not only were they pushing the Hebrew Israelite thing, they were also pushing that they were prophets and gods as well.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what we're going to find out right here. It says, perhaps the most dramatic and tragic of the consequences of the invention of an Israelite identity in the Southern African context may be perceived in the life and work of the so-called prophet of God, Enoch Mgijima'S. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Whose Luby family originally came from Natal. In this case, the Israelite theory can partly be traced back to an American context, but no doubt the widespread use of the Israelite myth in colonial discourse in Natal and elsewhere play a significant role too. Enoch Mgijima, or whatever you say, was born in Bulhoek in the Queenstown district and began to have visions.
Well, what's his real name?
That is his real name. He was African.
No, because I can show you that right now. Enoch.
Right.
Hold on, let me show you right now. You said his middle name is Mosiah, right?
Yeah, Enoch Mosiah Mgijima.
Okay, so check this out. The Ethiopic Jews and the Rastafarians, some of them believe that Marcus Mosiah Garvey prophesied with Leonard Howell about Selassie, and they believe that Enoch is from Ethiopia. So that's where he got his name from. Leonard Howell, when he was passing out that Rastafari ideology book, he hid it under an Indian book name with that name in it as well, the Majina.
Oh, for real? Oh, wow. I'll look into that.
Yeah, for real. Like I get deep with this shit, bro. Like these Israelites, they can't mess with me, bro. I'm the real Israel, if anybody is.
All right, we're gonna get into Ethiopia. Let me go. I'm gonna get into Ethiopia.
No, bro, and the thing is, it's like I love my brothers, right?
1907.
I love my brothers, but they got to stop with this foolishness, man.
Yeah, I hear you. It says in 1907, while hunting in the mountains, convinced that he was a sinner and a drunkard, he hesitated before accepting his calling as a prophet. However, in 1910, he saw Haley's comment and took this as the long-for confirmation of his prophetic vocation. His most specific and strongly held belief was that he had to reintroduce the religion of the ancient Israelites on African soil. His ideas swiftly attracted a following. Mgijima associated himself with the like-minded Church of God and Saints of Christ, an American church which had been founded in 1897 by Black American William Crowdy, who was a firm believer in the idea that it was the blacks who were the true and original Israelites and descendant of blacks who were the true and original Israelites and descendants of the 10 lost tribes. After a while, because of the starkly political visions which he continued to have and revealed to his followers, Mgijima was asked to lead the church, and he founded his own organization. So my man started bugging out on his own, just like how we got a lot of crazies in the crazy cults. You know what I'm saying? The crazy cults attract crazy people. So we got a dude like I'm gonna say names tonight. Shalom, right? That was in Torah Nights with Judah Nazareth. He ain't been an Israelite but a damn year or whatever, right? And he got a hold of Judah Nazareth's foolishness, and all of a sudden this fool talking about he a Levite. He got some revelation. Him and his girl got some revelation that they the Levites and that everybody should turn and listen to them. Well, that didn't last long. I don't even think that lasted a day. But it just shows how like retarded people get. Like it's how retarded it is. So you see now this man started bugging out, having his own visions, and now those visions started to conflict with Crowley's church. See, now it's all right for Crowley to have visions, but when another nutcase had visions, there's a problem. See how where the problem comes from? It says,
yeah, because they believe Crowley was they were teaching that Crowley was a prophet, right?
Yeah. And so there was more than one prophet in the Bible. So why can't Mgijima be a prophet now? Because he was saying something
it was
crazy.
easy for them. It was easy for them. That's exactly what they were doing back then.
They were just making up stuff on the fly. All these people had mental illnesses, like one of the two. Like they was crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it says in 1920, while sitting on top of Belanga Mountain, he received a message directly from God. Many Israelites to the area and built temporary housing for themselves.
And you know what, brother? Hold on, brother. We got to look into this shit that they were doing to our women, because what they were doing, bro, was not righteous. And I'm saying this as a believer of being an Israelite, but a different way, bro, the right way, bro. Like, bro, they were doing the same thing that these what do you call them, bro? In Utah, them weird Mormons, bro, what they do to their people.
You talking about Mormons?
They were probably straight up just abusing the crap out of these women and children, bro.
Yeah. That guy that I mentioned before, that Worth or something, Robertson or something, he ended up getting arrested for women trafficking.
Exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. And they get mad at me, but bro, I don't care, bro, because I know I'm right.
Immoral acts. He did 18 months in prison.
Whoa. Hold on. Back up. So what y'all saying is at this time are you saying that they were trafficking women back then?
Yeah.
Of course. They had a dude walking around saying that he was Moses.
Okay. All right.
And his bodyguards doing whatever they want. They would, and they believed in the Talmud, like you said, so they were doing all that weird stuff.
Yeah, I knew about the Talmudic teaching.
Yo, check me out. Not only was they wearing yarmulkes, all right, with pictures, okay, not only was they wearing yarmulkes, they were doing oral circumcision. They was doing all of that. Underage. They don't get married in the church, so they legit were just marrying whoever they want. They believe sex is marriage. They're doing it to kids.
Okay, you said oral circumcision. What do you mean oral circumcision?
Okay, the fake Jews right now, they do circumcision on children and they remove the foreskin with the mouth.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and they learned that from the Talmud. Okay, and these dudes back then, they were wearing yarmulkes too and doing that.
Yep. I would say I don't know about this group, but
no,
yeah,
that's big facts. They got pictures wearing yarmulkes.
Oh yeah. They all wear yarmulkes. There's a reason for that, and that's why
they was following the Talmud.
And all this stuff, some of them didn't know about it. But let me get into it. Let me finish this up. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there tonight. All right. It says, yeah. Many Israelites flocked to the area and built temporary housing for themselves. So now they have a place that he believed that the people should be going, waiting for God. So all these people went there, just like we got some of these nuts here today. You can get these dumb Americans. Somebody say, oh, we got to go to the Mona Israel. And these niggas pack up and go to the Mona Israel. And these people will go in there for whatever festival or whatever. But then they didn't want to leave. It says many Israelites flocked to the area and built temporary housing for themselves, thus coming into conflict with the local people. The following year, the Israelites compounded the crime of squatting by refusing to divulge their names for the census. So now they there and not wanting to give up to the government who they is for the census. Right? They have to keep that, the census. You have to do that, right? Even here in America, y'all have to go to jail if you don't adhere to the census, right? They explained reasonably that this was unnecessary. Now listen, here come the crazy nut stuff. That this was unnecessary as God knew who they were. Now, what the heck that got to do with the damn government? Wanting to know who the heck is up in their land, right? And they said it ain't necessary. Who he is. God know who he is. Like, that's straight cult stuff right there. After the murder of 2 Israelites, the group started preventing officials from coming to their settlement. A massive force of policemen arrived at Natal Blanca, and the 2 sides prepared for battle. They drew up in formal military formations. The Israelites were armed with knobkeries, whatever that is, Assegias. I don't know what that is either. 1 or 2 antiquated guns and knives. The police had modern rifles as well as machine guns. Throughout the lengthy negotiations, the Israelites were given the opportunity to surrender, but they refused, proclaiming, we will fight and Jehovah will fight with us. Mgijima assured them that the police bullets would turn to water and that they would not and could not be harmed. The Israelites fought courageously, but the outcome was never in doubt. One policeman was speared. 163 Israelites were left dead on the field of battle, and a further 129 were wounded. The massacre horrified both black and a good deal of white public opinion. Let's see this here. And out for freedom movement, Addis Ababa in January 1962, Messina Gela, representing the ANC, picked out the Bullock Massacre as perhaps the single worst atrocity in history of South Africa. It is still remembered. Edgar has noted almost every African household in South Africa knows about the massacre of the people of Bulhoek. A Bulhoek Massacre Heritage Memorial was unveiled with due ceremony on the 26th of May 2001. We have seen now how the myth of the lost tribes has penetrated every corner of the African continent. The use and reuse of this myth and myths about Jews serving an immense array of ideological and spiritual needs has had a striking impact on Africa. The spread of the myth connecting Africa with the Jews had been spectacular. It arose in the European and Middle Eastern imagination in the Middle Ages and may be attributed to part of the ignorance of much of the world that was brought about in the breakdown of communication between Islamic Middle East and the Christian Europe. Get this up here. Oh, I got this other thing too.
Did you say Addis Ababa?
Yeah.
That's Ethiopia.
Yep. Screen. Hold on, let me get this up. I actually have a handbook too, Cherry, of Crowdy, Crowdy's church, like his handbook for the church.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta send that.
Oh, you got that. Oh, you have that.
Yep. I'm gonna send it to you later.
Okay.
I'm gonna read a little bit. I'll probably read a little bit out of it. But these are the letters that was sent to this guy. This is him right here. That Mgijima, whatever his name is. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Enoch Mgijima was born in 1868 as one of the 9 children whose parents brought them up as Wesleyans, whereas his brother studied up to tertiary level. Enoch got only as far as the standard 3, 5th grade. This guy only got 5th grade education because he suffered from terrible headaches. So he remained at home in Balanga, Mountain of the Rising Sun. Here he became a landowner and hunter as well as a lay preacher in the Wesleyan Methodist Church. Later, after a vision, he left the Wesleyans to join a small church from the USA, the Church of God and Saints of Christ, who's from Crowdy's church, which was run by Black Americans. When Enoch refused to obey them concerning another vision he had, they expelled him. Enoch started his own faction of the church called the Israelites. 1919, Enoch uttered a prophecy that would interpret as meaning that his followers should go to his home on Balanga to wait for the Lord's coming. The Israelites decided not to leave after celebrating Passover as they usually did. By 1921, there were about 3,000 Israelites living on Balanga, who had come from all over the country. Some of the people who already lived in the location resented the presence of the strangers and their domestic animals. The government accused the Israelites of illegal squatting and tried to persuade them to leave. Negotiations between the government and the Israelites failed. On the 24th of 1921, May, the police acting under the government instructions confronted the Israelites, who made it clear that they would fight. Although the figures are disputed, it seems 160 and 170 Israelites were killed when the police started shooting. 129 were wounded, 95 taken prisoner, including Enoch, who was sentenced to 6 years in prison. He died 4 years after being released. Right? You see here, here's a letter. Commissioner Elise, they said, the police sent a letter saying to arrest certain men against whom warrants have been issued in order that they should be dealt with according to the law, to see that all unauthorized residents leave Balanga and go back to where they came from, to destroy all houses erected without authority. On completion of these operations, a force will be left on Balanga to prevent any unauthorized residents squatting there. Everyone's person and property will be respected. You are warned, however, then any resistance to lawful authority will be drastically dealt with. So basically, the government was nice, like, yo, y'all got a whole bunch of people there squatting. They here. They're not residents. They're not citizens. They making their own houses without a permission of the government. And we're gonna come through, kick them out. We're gonna tear down those houses and stuff that's not supposed to be built. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna leave some cops there to make sure all these people don't start coming back up in here without permission, right? And they said, yo, we're gonna respect you and we're gonna respect your property. But this is what we have to do. And they say, yo, if y'all buck up and act crazy, y'all gonna get dealt with. And that's what happened. And that's what's gonna happen here. There's gonna be some nutcase Israelites here that are gonna do the same thing. They're gonna say, no, God is protecting us. We won't leave. And guess what? All these people gonna die. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, the cult leader gonna get all scot-free. And he's gonna be hiding his hands. Just like all those 13, 15 deaths that happened in the last year by Hebrew Israelites.
That's facts.
And no leader was held accountable. No leader was held accountable for it. That's what's going on. And look at the man. This is what he wrote back. Yours are the 21st instant duly at hand. I feel glad that today I am able to express myself to you, how God has sent me to his people. On the 19th of April 07, the Lord God had appeared to me by a vision. I was only a hunter of game and a sinner before God, but the God of heaven and earth appeared to me and sent me to his people, whosoever shall hear his word, saying, for you to hear the sound from the west. The Lord informed that the war had begun in 1914, and from thence there shall be no peace on earth. The Lord God also informed me that what side it shall appear when it comes in Africa. You are just in its tracks as you now stand. This war is not for the kings nor the rulers of this world, but it is the war of Lord God of Israel. I, the servant of the Lord, do inform you, therefore, that this war is not caused by me nor any earthly kind. For any earthly kind. I understood that you, sir, intend to come out to Balanga with a adequate force. May it therefore be known by you and all that the armies and forces shall be ruled by God. As for myself, I am a messenger before the blood. The whole world is going to sink in the blood. I am not the causer of it, but God is going to cause it. I have been praying the government to allow the Israelite to pray for their God. You are informing me that you are coming out with an adequate force. Do you mean that you are coming out to war against the God of Israel? See how crazy this gets? If you then, sir, Mr. Truder, are coming out to make war, please inform me. I shall then write or say my last word before you destroy me. See this? Now, this man writing, and how many of those people that was there knew he was writing this foolish? Or was down with it, that he done convinced that this is our last stand and stuff. The Lord God is with us, and he's gonna take out this power structure, and we're gonna rule the earth. Then the people come there with machine guns and mow their behinds down. Look, murder, 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 the Mohawk massacre, Christian slaughter, the Christian brethren, Great Empire Day celebration. See the propaganda? They in the wrong. They in the wrong. Say that, hence the brutal invasion is truly symbolical of governmental tyranny and their historical efforts to exploit the workers, irrespective of their particular color or religious beliefs, and to maintain their position, function by an idle and parasitic class. Their armies are ever available to suppress any libertarian effort from the oppressing yoke of capitalism. A bunch of foolishness. We got here. All right, this is the one we're gonna get here. Skip over this real quick. Get to it. All right, this is from Crowdy's book here. Oh, I got a transcript too of one of their church meetings. So.
This is just all over the place. I mean, it's so much stuff in their past, and you know what? Hebrew Israelites have not researched none of this. How can you join an organization and not even research it? How much of this do you think that they know, Killer B? I say none at this point.
Very little, because they will tell you about Crowdy, they will tell you about Ford, they'll tell you about those people, but they don't go into depth about who they are. And the timeline of when they're telling us about these people, there wasn't really any information. Like you couldn't go to the library and look up a book on Crowdy or like, you know what I'm saying? None of that stuff, unless you get something on Marcus Garvey might mention them or something like that in there. Other than that, they ain't gonna be up in there. Or you pick up a book on Rastafarianism or something. Other than that, it ain't gonna be in there. They ain't even gonna find it. Or you're not gonna know where to find it. You know what I mean? But now with the internet, you got this stuff, but people are reading the stuff, but they're not seeing what's there. Just like they're reading it and not understanding what they're reading. And they'll just take little skim through it and take little things like, yeah, see this. But when you read this right here, you're gonna come across a lot of stuff that the cult teach in the way that they teach it. There's a certain part on here. I want to check. You got all these questions here. Christians should not drink wine or any other strong drink. They got all the scriptures for all the questions. How does God approve of drinking? Leviticus 10, 9, and 10. What does Solomon say about wine? Proverbs 20 and 1. See, not all this stuff gears you. This is the same thing that the IUIC gives you a sheet like this. Like all the questions that somebody can answer, and they got the scriptures for them, and you study them. So when somebody come up to you and stuff, you always got to answer to no matter what they ask. You got to answer. Foot washing. That's one of his things. Is foot washing. He required his members to do. You must be used upon with prayer and then received into the church of God with the holy kiss. This is another thing, the holy kiss. When the Hebrew Israelites greet each other, right? You put your fist to your chest, right? Which actually is a symbol of what is the deity? I forgot the name of the deity, but it's a symbol. It's like an Egyptian like thing. It's based almost like a prez. Like you put your hand to your chest and say, Abba Hashem Yahushua Barakatah. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? The Father and the name of Yahweh Shai bless you, brother. Right? And we both say that at the same time. And then we do like a fist bump, like a little like clubhouse fist bump. And then we hug each other on each side of our face. And like, you know how like Italian mob movies, when they go greet each other, they kiss each other on the cheek. That's the same thing that we did, but we kiss each other like. But that's what that's supposed to symbolize, the holy kiss. And if you look on my video, the Masonic origins of like the Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that, you see that I put up on that thumbnail. You see, it's like it's from some Masonic literature and stuff, and it basically shows like the holy kiss, like, you know what I mean? So that's where that came from. If you ever look at a Hebrew Israelite video and somebody comes up, like a brother late to camp or something, and they salute each other, and you see them go on both sides of their head, like they hug each other on both sides of the face, and that's what that is. That's the holy kiss. This is Moses' law or laws. Let me get this up. Is it? Yeah, this is it. This is it. Nope. This is it. This is it right here. Okay, this is it. Am I sharing my screen? Y'all see the screen?
I see your screen, but yeah, you're sharing. But is that what you want to share?
Oh, okay. I will just add it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is from Description of the Church of God and Saints of Christ, Bishop H.Z. Plummer. Right. This is one of the churches of Crowdy. At 11 o'clock, services began. Testimony was in progress. All members were standing. About 150 men and women and children present. A few persons here and there were sitting. These consisted of elderly women, very small children, and women attending babies. The testimonies were being given in rapid succession, each terminating with the words "Church of God and Jesus Christ." All members. That's like Hebrew IUIC. Most High in Christ bless. No matter what they say, Most High in Christ bless. Most High in Christ bless. It's a repetitive thing. So like you see now, it says repetitive. The testimonies come in rapid succession. So everybody's giving their testimony how great and stuff they God is and all this stuff, and they ended with Church of God and Saints of Christ. All members are dressed in uniform style. The women are wearing blue blouses, dark brown skirts, white collars, brown ties, blue bow ribbons in their hair. Now, this is another thing too. They all make the people dress all the same. That's another form of like the brainwashing to keep you locked in. This is IUIC. What we all? How do you know? Looking at an IUIC member, they wearing those stupid purple T-shirts. It's the same thing. They're wearing the stupid purple T-shirt, and you know he down with IUIC. Here and there are a few women dressed in white blouses, black shirts, like ribbons in the hair, blah 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 blah. After the testimony service, all sit down except the choir. The choir consists of 13 females and 12 males, including the choir master. They are standing in a semicircle in the center of the room in front of the pulpit. A man stands in the center column directly behind the women, thus comprise two rows in a single file semicircle with the choir master standing in the center in the opening. There are 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls between 10 and 13 in the group. The hymn is being sung. The name cannot be determined. There are no hymnals. The words are as follows: my Lord, and Father Abraham, when he shall save my soul from the great and dreadful day, when the Lord shall turn his back on me. These words are repeated over and over again in the same tune and rhythm. The choir members are marking time left and right, raising each leg high as in the goose step. Their bodies sway from side to side rhythmically. Now, this stuff all comes from the church. I know a lot of you people that grew up in the church, Baptist church or whatever, and you got the choir and stuff. They come in the church before they sit down where the choir sit at. They come through and they be rocking, they be swaying that from left to right. They used to do that in my church, the Baptist church, when I was a little kid. It was in the choir. And we be stepping. We step to the left. And all the choir, they go to the left. Then we step to the right. And we moving forward. We do that all the way up to where we sit at, up at the top of the church. You know what I mean? It's a rhythmic thing. So a lot of these Hebrew things are also spin-offs of the Christian church, the Pentecostal church, the Methodist church. All these things that they did in these black churches before, they brung it over to the Hebrew Israelite thing and made it you know how like the white Jews, they got their certain customs and rituals and stuff like that. The black Jews only took partial of that stuff, and they took a lot of the stuff from the churches that they was in before and brung it. Say like, oh, how a Jewish synagogue, they not using musical instruments and singing and stuff like that. But not the black was like, nah, we sang it in here. And they got somebody with a drum. Like you got the African Israelites and stuff in America, like what we call the moderates or whatever. You see them and they got the old African drums and stuff, like they in the damn jungle or something. And they supposed to be Israelites. Right? So after repeating the performance. Okay. All right, this is the part I wanted to get to right here. The overseer rises and says, brothers and sisters of the church of God and the saints of Christ and the grandfather Abraham, we're going to listen to Brother Barnes, who shall bring the message of the morning. He resumes his seat. A man dressed in the above described brown suit steps up on the platform and says, the subject of my message this morning, stop, think, and use your own mind. You hear that, Sherry? Stop, think, and use your own mind. Now check out. Let me show y'all. All right,
I'm listening. I'm still right here. I'm listening.
All right, check this out.
100%.
Listen to this. This is real slick, and this is what they do today. They do the same thing today in the Hebrew Israelite churches, right? Coach. Now, many of you know how to diagram a subject. Several hands are raised. Now, what is the subject of this sentence? Stop, think, and use your own brain. A young man in the congregation replies, you is the understood subject. There is a murmuring of voices. The speaker says, that's correct. And what is the word stop? Someone replies, a verb. The leader says, correct. And how about think? And the reply is heard, think is a verb. And the speaker says, and now what is the word and? And the answer comes, and is a conjunction. The speaker says, correct. What about the word use? The reply is heard, use is a verb. Correct. And how about the word your? Someone says, your is a pronoun. And the leader signifies his approval, then asks, and what about own? The reply comes, own is a possessive noun. And the leader asks, now everybody should know what part of speech brain is. What is brain? And the chorus of answers apply a noun. Then the speaker says, now that we know what we're going to talk about, I want you to go along with me on a little expedition. He speaks in the conversational tone, no moralistic statement. First, we go out to the door and turn the corner at M Street and go up 7th Street. Then we turn right on 7th Street and go up 1241. How many of you know what 1241 is? Mervers and laughs. Well, you know that 1241 is a juice store. Now, let's say we're all going to this juice store. Of course, at first, the Jew, when he sees us all coming into his store, will get excited. But when he finds out that we come to buy something, he's going to start to rub his hands together. He rubs his hands together, laughs, and murmurs. Now, you go into the juice store and say, I want to buy a suit. And that's all you have to say to that Jew. And he has already worked out all the details before you even got there. First, he brings you out a suit that costs, let us say, $8. He shows you this suit and tries it on you. It just fits you. I used to work in a clothing store, and I know the way they do you. No, that's what business is when you do business. You're supposed to have your whole sales spiel already set up before the person comes up. You're supposed, that's your job, is to sell, right? Do you know the reason why the Jew moves up into a colored neighborhood? Now, we all heard this before, and now we know where they all came from. It's because he knows the colored folks don't use their brains. Giggles and laughs. Only a small minority of us use our minds. Now the Jew sits down and figures out just what you need. And then he figures out about how much money you got to spend. Then he figures out the best way to control your mind so as to make you pay his price. And if you don't stop and use your own brain and think for yourself, somebody else will use it for you and take advantage of it. Now, let me tell you how to spend your... All right, listen out, y'all. Now, let me tell you how to spend your money. Let's say you got $100 and I haven't got any point in mind as to how you're going to spend it. When you return home, you have something you have no idea buying. Your money will be gone and you still won't have what you wanted. The way to have money for what? The Passover. Oh, you may say, I ain't got nothing anyway. And there's no use to me trying to save anything. And then you sure won't have nothing. Just sit down and use your own mind and figure out the things you need. And leave the surplus at home. Then you will have something when the Passover comes. But if you spend your money for something like liquor and you don't get no reward either, take the man who goes to the bar room. Let him spend until he gets drunk. Then if he gets too noisy, they throw him out. You know they have a man there who gets paid to do nothing else but to throw you out when you get too noisy. And if you get too bad, the bartender will call the wagon himself to come and get you. So you see, you spent $2.50 and you haven't got any reward. But if you save your money for the Passover and do your part to what? To support the church of God and saints in Christ and the grandfather Abraham, then when you get sick, you will have a reward. Father Abraham won't fail to come to your rescue. I declare unto you. You see this shit? You see this slick talk? So now they don't want you to buy a suit. They don't want you to buy a suit from the Jewish man, or probably a suit in general. Know what suit they want you to buy? Their church uniform suit. They want to provide everything for you. All your shirts coming from IUIC. All your fringes coming from IUIC. Right? So, but if you save your money for the Passover, wait. Okay, all right. I am glad to have this chance to speak to you because I want you to stop and think and use your own mind. These niggas got balls. You know that when you spend your money at the movies, a part of it goes to the government. And the government takes that money and buys bullets to kill you with. Now, and look, a man cries out, that's true now, that's true. Right? So now they put in your head that when you spend money, part of it goes to the government, and the government is using that money to buy bullets to kill you. And they're still doing this today. The cult is telling you this today. I know many brothers that have got lawsuits and stuff that are in the cult, and they convinced the member to give up that money to the church. Well, you know, brother, you know the church, you know, we can use that for the truth. We can use that money for the truth to push this truth, brother. You know, we got to push this truth, brother. You got to give some of that to the truth. The Most High bless you. So a fool sit there and give his whole damn thing to the church. Give his whole lawsuit money to the cult. Or use the money that he got, like somebody said in the chat earlier and stuff. They forcing people, they giving people penalties for being late on their tithes money. The Comforter Church was doing 20 and 40% tithes. And if you fall behind your bills, the Most High, you doing something wrong because the Most High ain't blessing you. Right? So now they're telling you, don't go to the movies. What you going to the movies for? There ain't nothing but wickedness in the movies. You know, ain't nothing but the naked white women out. Ain't nobody want to go in there and see no naked white women out. Ain't nobody want to go in there and see all that blasphemy out. Demons and stuff on the TV out. What you want to spend your money on that for? Huh? You put that money to the truth. So now your little bit of movie money that you go every week, that little $10, I don't know, it costs mad money to go to movies now. Like I ain't been to movies all the time. But that little bit of movie money, guess where it's going? They're gonna have a class that night. So the money that you use to go to the movies on Friday night is gonna be going towards the school. The things that you go out and do on Thursday night, they got a class. And that money, you ain't gonna go there and spend that money at the bar. You're gonna go to class and give them that money. You want to go downtown and spend your money to buy a gun to kill yourself with, would you? Now, see how they work that? So you don't want to spend money on the movies because the tax money go to the government buy bullets that are used to kill you, right? Say you want to go downtown and spend your money to buy a gun to kill yourself, would you? So they using that comparison to get your mind all screwed up. But what was the name of this lesson? To use your own mind, right? So what are you doing now? Who mind is you using? You're using that cult mind. If you don't use your own mind, there's always someone else ready to use it for you. They making fun of you. They mocking you while they teaching you. While they brainwashing you, they mocking you. They making fun of you. How stupid you are. And they tell you how stupid you is right at the beginning. And you think you somebody else. You think you a smart nigga now. I smart, boss. I'm smart. I ain't giving no government no money. I had a Hebrew Israelite, right? I'm calling names tonight. Traytel, right? Traytel gonna get mad at me because I told him that he said, what we gotta pay taxes for? Like he said, no. He said, I'm a slave, right? He said, you pay taxes, don't you? I said, you supposed to pay taxes. I said, your kids go to school, right? I said, when your kids go to school, how you get your kids to school? How you get to work? I said, don't you pull out your driveway onto a street? Without your tax money, you be pulling out your driveway into a mud hole. When you get to the corner of your street, you got an intersection. Hey, wait, there's no stop sign, there's no traffic light. You can crash your car. Your kids get books at school, right? Guess who paid for those books? Your taxes. So don't tell me I'm a slave. It's because I pay taxes because you're supposed to pay taxes. So you can go to work. You got a yellow line in the middle of the road. You keep people from crashing into you. Where all that stuff come from? Where they supposed to get that money from? This then we got the pandemic. Donald Trump gave you $1,200. He gave you another $600. Where that money come from? You put that money in there. If you don't use your mind, there's always someone else ready to use it for you and take advantage of you. Take a young lady. She buys several kinds of powders and then go before the mirror and fixes herself up because she wants to control her boyfriend's mind and make him think that she wants him to think. That's why she tries to make herself attractive. Now, the best way to do when you have a little money is to sit down and figure out how little you need to spend. See? Sit down and figure out how little you need to spend. So now you're disregarded. Let me make sure y'all still listening to me. Hold on. All right. Oh, damn. Cherry dropped off. All right, gotta continue the show. My bad, Cherry. I put the link back up in here. I know she fell off or what. Oh, the Israelite, the Ethiopian dude bounced too. All right, hold on. There's a link. Anybody want to hop back up in this joint? I hope y'all can still hear my mind. Let me get back to this. All right. Take them out of the house and leave the rest at home. because you take these stores, they pay a man as high as $90 a month just to fix up the windows, as to make you spend your money, so as to control your mind. But if you use your own brain, you won't need anybody to tell you how to spend your money, and you will have something for the Passover. He leaves the platform. The overseer raises and says, "We thank Brother Barnes and Grandfather Abraham for these remarks. We all congregation begins to stir around. Papers are rustling, lunches are being eaten. Some are leaving the room by the back of the pulpit. No one leaves by the street door." I'll share this with y'all. Put this link here in the chat. This is coming from Howard University. Social science, comparative studies, a comparative study of religious cults. Share that with you. Y'all getting the freebie. Chat. Good reading here. Quite large PDF. I got that. All right. Let's see that there. Get back to that. Did this one. What's going on here? All right, finger and jaw. Oh, that's on that. Not you. We need that. This I could use. Use it. I don't know if I want to give this one out. I don't know if I want to give this one out. I don't know if the Rasta dude's still here or not. Get to that point here. This is mad long. I can make another video off of it. Ethiopia Jewish Exodus, a myth in creation. You go with that one. Read that. Okay. 122. See what the chat says. War lust. Okay. Atheists over there in Israel are Zionists. They don't give a damn about the scripture. Dr. Bantu is working on that. Not saying he is, bro. Sounds like Gorilla Hebrew Sakari again. I'm just saying that. That's all. Lord. know, BK Hollis. Yeah, I would say the yeah, you're right. They don't promote it. Yeah, Masons don't promote them being part of that. They, if you ask them, they'll tell you. But other than like saying, "Oh, I'm a Mason" and stuff, you don't see that, especially with the old ones, with the older generation. The newer generations is something different. You see them with the t-shirts on and the hats and all that stuff. Like you don't like wearing it every day and stuff like that. An older guy, he might have a hat or a jacket, but he only wearing that the lodge events and stuff. Yeah, so you're right about that, BK. Apology. Yo, straight Zed, you got to tell me if you still here, yo. Let me know you still here. I want to talk to you a little bit about that. That's crazy. We gotta shut that nigga down. We gotta get rid of that. I can't believe he said that. I'm gonna leave that up there. I just can't believe he said that. I've been on this mother 2 hours already. Let's see what Mary said here. Secret handshakes. Yeah, they got certain grips and stuff that they use to identify each other. I wouldn't say like how people say that they go out and they let a person know that he Mason to get some kind of benefit. I don't think any, especially with the older like people. I heard that stuff a little more. That you're a man. I have a good friend and stuff. That's a Mason. He joined the military. And he told me a story how his drill instructor was a Mason. And like they're doing all their like boot camp stuff and stuff like that. And he recognized them. Like, you know what I mean? And he said, "Yo," he said, "I know like who you is." He said, "But don't think I'll give you any special privilege." You know what I mean? He said, "You my brother and I love you." He said, "But I'm not gonna give you no favoritism. Like you can do this just like everybody else is doing." I don't know, but I want to get to this African thing. I kind of want to stop the video and go on, but you know, I talked about it, so I'll just get. You know what? I'm gonna do another video on it. I'm just gonna speak a little bit. I'm gonna go over just a little bit of it. Let's see where I'm gonna start. And basically, what this talks about is. No, I'm gonna make it another video. I'm just gonna talk about it. Anybody want to come in and talk? I'm gonna save this for another video. I'm getting tired and stuff. I don't want to like drag it out. I keep the subject a little bit. Let me put the link in the chat. Oh, I just put the link in the chat. Anybody want to come on? Lord bless him if I want to sacrifice. Okay. So a person has more than one soul. Usually comes in here to control. So you'll be back? Yeah, I don't be seeing none of these messages. So basically what I was gonna go on tonight, I was gonna show how these African tribes come up with the idea that they came from Israel, right? Basically, what it comes down to is that a lot of these notions come from conversion, and also missionaries. Missionaries were going into the continent and going back and reporting that these people were the lost tribes of Israel. Why? Money. You get funding. So the king, he ain't gonna go, or your ruler, he's not gonna go down in some damn mosquito infested area or something like that and see all this stuff for himself. No, you're gonna get the missionaries to go there and say, hey, these people are Israelites. They're doing the same thing as the people of the Bible, right? But you can go around the world and see people doing these same customs because they're observing the same things all around the world. You have a fall, like a springtime, when you go harvest. Everybody got a harvest season. Everybody got a New Year's season. Everybody got a new moon, right? Everybody got days of the week. What civilization that don't got that, right? And what you see, like the missionaries, they were making up these stories. You get money, you get backing. A lot of the stuff was just like pseudo info. I don't want to give up the whole bag and stuff. I don't want to give up the whole bag. So, I don't know. Should I stop now? It's late. How you doing? I see that already. What's this one? In the sanctuary, Vincent Dollars in Rochester, Jews. I'll give this one out too. I'll give this one out. It's a good section in there. I forgot what it was. I'm getting tired. All right. Oops. 7 people up in here. Why everybody so quiet in the chat? Making me nervous. Here's another book here for y'all. All right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna dub out. I thank y'all for coming by. That's like a run through something real quick. Oh man. So the duck walks down to the corner store, says to the lady running the store, "Hey, you got any grapes?" I don't know if you guys ever heard that song. I don't know. You Google the duck song on the internet, on YouTube. One's for kids, and they just remixed the thing into a bunch of crazy stuff. Oh, wow. As a deacon, a mason, and a family man with 2 jobs, Crowdy gives the impression of having a stable man with a middle-class values, with every intention of achieving success as defined by the American ethic. If Crowdy became disillusioned during the 1890s, it is not difficult to understand why. In many respects, Negroes experienced more overt hostility during that decade than at any other time in history. Rayford W. Laughlin has referred to this period as the nadir of the Negro experience in America. Woolward has written that the South in the 1890s was the perfect cultural seedbed for aggression against the minority race. He points to economic, political, and social frustrations, which were clinically related to the Depression of the 90s. Negroes were the scapegoats of the frustration which followed crushed hopes for reform. Yeah, that's all I'm really. I'm tired, y'all. I can't believe I started that late. I thought it was a lot earlier. Started. Nobody talking? Nobody doing nothing? So I'm gonna get up on out of here. It's Killer B, the witch finder general. You got a witch. I'll burn their asses up. And special shout out to Sister Cherry for coming on. Israel elect Nazarite order. You got Myron. Myron's in the building today. Myron, thank you for that information this morning. We gotta do a show. You can come on and do it. You can come on my channel and do a presentation on it. Because I know you've been studying this stuff. Like, you was like, shit, I already read that 2 years ago. So, like, yeah, man, come on, hit us to some stuff. You're more than welcome anytime. Shout out to No White God. Shout out to BK Apologist. Shout out to Mr. Barry Bennett. Thank you for coming by. And BK Apologist. Straight Zen. Yo, you got to hit me, man. Come on, man. You can't leave me hanging. You can't leave me hanging. Judah Nazareth is collecting kites. Yo, that's crazy. You be the 12,000 years old. The earth is 12,000 years old. I don't know how old it is. I really don't. I really don't know how old it is. I really don't. We tall was it 5,000 years old? The Jews believe that the world's only 5,000 years old. Who knows? Nah, Freemasonry don't go back to Kemet. That's a myth. I got some good. I should do a show on that too. I got some information on the people where that claim comes from about King Tut having an apron and having all these Masonic like tools and stuff. Come to find out, it was a hoax. That dude that makes that claim was never there for the excavation or the examination of the body. So I don't know. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. I'm gonna go out with a song. I'm gonna go out with some Josh. That's what I'm gonna do. I can go in with him. So I'm gonna go out with him. I keep my boy in rotation. So yeah. Thanks everybody for coming out. Shout out to anybody else I missed. I was in the chat. Once again, shout out to Sister Cherry. Go check her show. I hope she's doing the show. When I turn it off, I'll turn her on. When I turn this off. So I'm gonna play that Hoodwink by Josh.
During these ceremonies, was Satan the devil ever referred to?
He was called Lucifer.
What did they say about the devil, about Lucifer?
That killing the people made him happy.
Cats always fall victim. See right through your prism and send them to the dark. Saw mesmerized by the heart. Where them demons go to everyone who you call bro or call bro. That's why cats around me, you know, y'all wanna put y'all in a box. Even insult the ZZ blocks. Calling cops on brothers just for talking to another. Mercy be upon all brothers. Praise y'all cause the devils can't touch us. We wanna say we bad or brought? No. With your own words caught. You try and hide what you bought. With Judah, I'm nothing. Funny how nothing got their minds bugging. Just like you stole Christmas. But they mad cause you won't bear false witness. They duck, cut, and flip more than gymnasts. Look how the Legion moves. Self-proclaimed cut paste fools. Wisdom say avoid fools. Cause if they don't listen, you the stooge. There's a difference between firm and niggerish. Firm rebuke is what the sentence is. Take it back to hip-hop. Not oversized wooden flip-flops. than falling down off the tip top. Rick Ross is better off on the beat like Primo's. Yahweh's words, man, do we need those? They say so. Yeah. Snatch your mind out control. Stand bold and no foes. They geeked out on no dose. And then miss your rest. Balance checks so the wicked get it even. Even distribution, letdowns and bruising. Now your cleaver's a heathen because he fell off what you're teaching. I'm chilled out like a seal beaching. Enjoy the warm sun, not speaking, not preaching. Watch Allah do the reaching. Uncover answers that you were seeking. Find your way home. Here's the beacon. See the light here. Word, turn home. Y'all follow. A lot of cats out here traumatized. From these mind control. You know what I'm saying? Puppets. Gotta wait. But always know Yahweh fights. Praise those who have not. Don't be worried about what others got. Word. Look what he give you. Look at the wealth you have within. You know what I mean? He fills up your temple. Not any man. Wisdom. That's word. All praises to Yah, who is Allah. There's nine. Thanks for the beat. Lobster Bill beat selection. Thanks for the track.
All right, y'all. Good night. Hey. Thank y'all for hanging out. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace. It's Killer B, the What's Fine in General.